It took us a second to work out our schedules, but I'm glad that it worked out.
Yeah. You have an assistant.
I do. It's AI.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
It's actually really nice because I am really bad with calendaring.
Mm,
So it's so nice to just not. And also I love that if I'm out and about in the city and I see like those flyers with posters, I
yeah.
don't like manually have to, I just like take a picture, send it, and it's like on my social calendar and I can decide to go that day or not.
Oh, you send it to the AI assistant.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my god.
amazing.
Yeah, I need to try it also. Yeah, it's good
You should.
for recruiting also. It's like a lot of back and forth in the calendar.
Recruiting must be insane. I mean, I'm sure like recruiting will be like the harder one to nail out, but I
Yeah,
realize that when you keep using these things, you just get like, you know exactly how to use them, and they also learn about you, so they adapt with you over time. So it's been very
yeah.
fun.
Sounds cool. I'll try it. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time for this call. I think the background is I started making content on like TikTok and Instagram
Yeah,
last year, and I was thinking about like topics that people are excited about,
yeah,
like that are
yeah,
like watching our content,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
okay, tech organizations and like their culture, and then I was thinking about like code gen and then generative AI. And then I was thinking, okay, who do I know that is like top of mind in all these three areas? And I'm like, oh, okay, Shivani
Thank
is
you for
perfect.
thinking about me.
No, but you're like you touch all those subjects, so it's
Yeah,
very exciting.
yeah,
So I think we can start with like the tech organizations and culture. You've been at Alexa, Facebook, Google, DeepMind.
yes.
From your perspective, like how do these organizations differ in the culture?
First off, I'm so excited that we get to do this short form content podcast. I think it's super exciting to just like try this out. You
Mm,
know, on a very interesting path. I know you and I talked, so you know a little bit about this,
mm,
which is that at Alexa, I was funded to build the first ever social conversational AI agent. This is
mm.
like 10 years ago. So back
Yeah,
then, like what feels like super easy for us now with ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these
right.
models wasn't a thing. And it was amazing to learn. I was just going out of grad school and to learn how do you take some of the fundamentals of AI research and actually apply it to products,
Yeah.
work with real users, get feedback, and actually build product for the wild world out there.
Mm,
So that was Alexa for me. It was very different in that it was a very research to industry transition in a way.
mm.
Alexa actually taught me, made me learn about myself that PhD wasn't my path, wasn't my calling. I
Yeah,
actually decided to pivot into industry. And so the moment in time that I saw Alexa in, I do think that it really helped pave the way for some of these personal conversational assistants, especially the devices that we see today.
definitely.
Meta, I was a much bigger journey, and Meta again, during my time when I was there, had this very magical culture of innovation. We were trying to build the Ray-Ban glasses that you see out there,
Oh
the
yeah,
AR VR glasses. It was a 5-year roadmap back when I joined.
yeah,
It was a document, and we had to
yeah,
figure out how do we take that from this thing that doesn't exist, seems really hard to do, and
yeah.
how do we just do it? And in that sense, I saw there to be a move fast culture at Meta. Like I
Yeah.
really learned how to execute with speed at Meta. Meta also was very at a very interesting time in that point because Meta was also growing up. So it was move fast, but don't break things was kind of
Mm,
coming in. And so that culture was very prominent. At Meta, I worked on consumer products, but then I also worked on enterprise products. And I came to realize something very interesting, which led me to Google, which was this one time I was trying to build a meeting assistant who that could, just go in meetings with me, take notes, and then do follow ups. You see a
yeah.
theme here. I'm into productivity.
When was this?
This was in workplace. So Meta actually has a Facebook for Work
Mm,
version, which was
yeah.
actually quite popular. Meta uses it internally to communicate with each other, to share updates, projects, whatever. So I was after the Ray-Ban glasses, that was the project that I was working on, basically leading this whole charter on like what does it mean to have like an AI assistant at work.
Mm.
And it was very funny because this one time I was in a meeting and I grew up in India, so I have an accent, and the assistant just could not get my accent right. And I was
Oh yeah, same for me with
right.
at least yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I was like, wow, like we're building all these models and here we
Right.
are. It doesn't work for the bulk of us. And so that led me to Google research.
Mm.
Google was at the time really investing very heavily, and we do still today, in AI inclusivity, AI for everyone. And so,
Mm.
really, my goal was how do these foundation models really work well for anybody and for any product out there. So configurability of these models, whether it's for an end product or for an end person, like personalization was big for me. So that's what I found at Google Research. Google is a very different organization than any of these because Google is very thoughtful in how we build products. There is a certain unlearning we've had to do of how do we still move fast while being thoughtful with this new AI wave.
Mm.
And it's actually been I feel very lucky and very grateful to be at the front row seat of actually seeing this pivot happen.
Yeah,
Years
yeah,
ago, we did not have Gemini. All of our products weren't using Gemini, and we did not have the new product portfolio that we have today. Today, we not only have the best foundation model in the world, we have all of our products, huge distribution, billions of users who use these products, use this
yeah.
model. And on top of that, we actually launched a set of very brand new products which are actually transforming the space. I know you and I talked about Jules, which is the product that I lead, which is a developer. We're actually calling it the continuous AI agent because it's no longer
The
just
what?
the continuous AI agent because
Oh
it no
yeah.
longer waits for you to tell it what to do. It just does things. So if you ever, as a developer, if you ever install Jules on your repo, you will come back and work would have happened. And you wouldn't have paid for it. You would only pay for it if it's good work. So it's much more outcome oriented. But it's
Oh yeah, yeah,
proactive.
yeah.
So to imagine the slew from going to actually starting this model from scratch to now being at the helm of transformation, it's been a journey. So that's how I see all of these companies.
Yeah, I think it's been super cool with Google. I actually canceled like ChatGPT just to see like can I just do Gemini? Like will there be a difference? You know, like
Do you
and
like
no,
it?
it's like yeah, it's I think yeah, equal as good or better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love Gemini. I also
mm,
specifically love Nano Banana, the deep
yeah.
research for like anytime I have to do actual good research about any topic or anything, like
Mm.
Gemini is my go-to model.
There was a point where like people were talking about like Google is going to be dead, you know, because of like the, you know, search
Yeah.
versus like ChatGPT. And then there was just this wave of like products coming out, you
Yeah.
know, like Banana and
Yeah.
Juice and Anti-Gravity. And what is there like, has there been like an unlock in terms of like internally that you have seen to make that shift? Or is it just, what is the reason for like all these products coming out now kind of?
I have this theory. I'm
Yeah.
going to say this is my personal theory because this is my hypothesis on actually being in the center of some of the shift that's happening. Is
Mm,
that sometimes competition brings the best in you, and so some
yeah.
healthy competition from people around us. The fact that the consumers are much more interested than ever to try out new products, which means that if
Yes.
we launch a new product right now, the chances that a consumer tries it out and plays with it are way higher by
Right.
proportions, magnitudes of proportions higher than it was ever before. And so
Mm,
a combination of the technology realm of technologies moving forward, the consumers are meeting us where they are, sort of
mm,
necessitate this need to innovate and move fast. And that,
mm,
when met with the amazing infrastructure advantage that Google has, whether it's, privacy, security. One of the things
right.
is if you go to Gemini, your data will not leak anywhere because we have
Yeah.
the whole data infrastructure, which is backed up to have your secure data in it. So, like all three of those, when they come together,
Yeah.
make it the perfect recipe for transformation. And for what it's worth, I think people in Google, like actual, like each one of us and the leadership have really done a good job at turning the ship in the right direction, which is always hard to do.
Yeah, 100%. And but how does it work internally for you? Like you have Jules, like how much compute can Jules eat like without the rest of the organization being like,
We
okay,
have
we need
actually
to.
like very good strategic compute planning. It's obviously a hard problem to solve because the
Mm,
models, because everyone wants to build the next big thing. So
you're right.
we have a bunch of ways in which we do something like this. There is,
Mm,
I would say, like roughly like three different ways in which I think about it. There is
mm,
obviously like strategic compute planning. Just like you allocate any other resources, compute is also a very important resource. So is
mm,
headcount, so is storage, so is, yada yada. And so we do have a pre-existing strategic ways in which we approach resource allocation. And so, similarly, when you extend those ways to compute, it actually translates pretty well. The second
mm,
thing that we're finding, and we're actually just doing this for Jules, sneak peek, is we as much as we like launching the big models, we actually try to get a lot of compute efficiency out of the small models. So, for example,
mm,
the latest Gemini models first launched to the paid G1 customers for Jules. We have since that launch been working really hard to make sure that Gemini Flash is almost as good, if not better, and it's actually sometimes better than some
mm,
of these base models for all free customers. So even if we couldn't have compute from, say, the big models, doing more post training, doing more work on the small models to get them up to par to the big models is
mm,
something we can do to, make up for that compute that we don't have. And so it's better for compute, it's faster, it's latency preserving. So that's the
mm,
second way in which we work on compute allocation and just compute efficiency. And
mm,
then I think the third is always having some risk appetite. The only way
mm.
you can have these transformative products is when you have a portfolio which is balanced, as in you're
Yes.
investing in the products you have. So Google is not only just launching search products. That's obviously the star of our portfolio, but we have risk appetite. So we are investing in our developer tools, or we're investing
Mm,
in Notebook LM, which is growing like wildfire. And so doing all
yeah.
of these things also helps you discover where the new compute should be.
Yeah, right, exactly. And see, like from the usage, okay, what do people do, and how much do people
Exactly.
use it, and prepare to pay, and so on. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
like in that environment, what was your mandate when you like created Jules, and what was the goal from the beginning?
I think the mandate for the last 3 years, really for all of us, has been, and it's always been that. I think it's just there's been a renewed sense in that mandate. It's been to build the best products which help organize the world's knowledge for our users. And I
Mm,
love how that, like, that's been the mandate. And it's like, where is the knowledge in the world that we haven't yet made come together for the benefit of the users? And so in that, like, developer tools is something which we still do. Like, there was Firebase Studio, there's Google
yes.
Cloud. So it's not like we haven't invested in it, but not for the indie developer, not for the
Mm,
person who's just sitting and like trying to hack on something. It was hard to have Google tools. So it was really like, hey, let's like look at our entire portfolio from scratch, figure out where have we not invested in but we should,
right.
and really bring that together.
Yeah, exactly. Because like for Firebase, it's always like huge among like scale ups and also like bigger startup. But like Superbase is also taking a lot of share in terms of the
Yeah.
like indie hacker like weekend project, right?
Yeah, Superbase is amazing for what it's worth. Like, I actually think
Yeah.
that a lot of these companies, Superbase, Vercel, have made things that seemed hard, super simple, and super accessible, and truly democratizing software. And I do think
Mm,
that that's truly for anybody who's building developer tools in the age of AI. The idea should be, how can the next billion developers be unlocked? Like, the developers are not just
yeah, yeah.
tools anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, I talked to a guy about from AWS, like principal engineer, and he's talked about a lot about like okay, what is the like abstraction layer, right?
Yeah,
Like, and the abstraction level and the abstraction layer, it depends where you are at.
yeah,
Like my favorite before was hooking up like a Git repo and just like having everything managed for me, right? And then at some point you kind of reach some point where you kind of need to go a bit deeper into like GCP or AWS
yeah,
or something like that. And
yeah,
it's a bit of a headache in the beginning, but like there's a reason for that headache,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
need because you need finer grained tools
yeah.
sometimes, right?
Although I
Mm,
wish like there wasn't that headache. Like I definitely want to be in
I
a
agree.
world where I want the agents to just take care of auth for me and figure the
Yes.
keys out wherever they need to be fetched from, wherever they need to be added. Like that's literally the world that I want to be in.
And is that like one of the reasons for use? Like the form factor is different. Maybe you can
Yeah, so
elaborate.
Jules actually, honestly, like I do think that that can be the place where Jules can be. The thesis of Jules was three big things. The first one was not everyone has a machine that they want to run locally any agents on at all time. And
No.
sometimes people are on the go, they have phones. We've seen this from our Asia Pacific customers. Jules is very popular. It's growing in that market because people might not have really high end devices to run these agents on. So the first idea
Oh.
was, can an agent come with its own sandbox environment with secure,
Mm,
which can pull all the code in and just run it like any other engineer
mm,
would? Like if I hire an engineer, I wouldn't imagine them to come sit here on my laptop and then work, right? Like they have their own thing.
yeah.
So that was like one of the first biggest core ideas. But here's what
Mm,
it does for you. It means that there are basically infinite engineers that you can work for you because each one will bring its own environment. And so it's not bottlenecked by how much compute you have on your local device. It's not eating up any of your existing compute on your local device.
yeah.
And it's also triggerable from wherever you are. So, as a result of being a hosted agent, Jules is the only one you can say, at Jules on GitHub, fix this bug. Or we just did a integration with Render where if your deployment fails, you can be like, Jules, fix my deployment. And it'll just
Mm,
go off and do its own thing. So that's the second thing, which is after this secure, agent controlled, agent native environment, how do you bring the agent wherever developer is? And
yeah.
now, what we're calling this continuous AI vision is this true evolution of Jules, which is how can an agent not just wait for you to tell it what to do? Like, it's almost like promotion of Jules. Like, how with
Oh, yeah,
Google,
yeah.
you're like, first you're told what to do it. You get really good at solving little tasks. And then you're like, actually, what's your goal? Like, what might I do to like figure that goal out? And that's all, like, I'll figure it out. And so we've launched a few different proactive tasks, is what we call it, with Jules, where Jules, when once you deploy it on your code base, it'll figure out, hey, actually, you could be saving like 10% in your compute money or performance if you just made these fixes. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
yet to see a developer who's like, I don't want performance improvement.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
yeah.
So we're doing that for performance, for security, and you can imagine, like once you actually get really good at proactivity, then the list is endless.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's super exciting. We have a customer now that do for they have agents for marketing,
Yeah,
and then they have some like autonomous things running in the
yeah,
background, like at night and
yeah,
stuff, right? Like checking ads accounts and
yeah,
optimization problems and
yeah,
stuff. And I think it's a huge area.
yeah,
And it's so core also the thing you talk about with like people don't have their own local because like I think that's a common when we worked with the Lovable and I
yeah,
talked with engineers.
yeah,
I think a lot of engineers say like, it's pretty easy to just like ship something, but
yeah,
it's actually like 10 or 20 steps on your computer and you're already set up. So it's
yeah.
kind of like there's actually some work there.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly. We're also increasingly seeing people who want to check on things on their phone. And I know
yeah.
Lovable has this use case as well, where if you
Mm,
have, the agent working on your behalf, you're like, let me see what my project is up to. Like, I'm on the go, I want to check in. And
yes.
so having that is also becoming super powerful in terms of like just
Mm,
the distribution of the surfaces that people, use agents from.
right. And it becomes this like second screen, and for some people, the second screen is the first
Yeah,
screen, and
yeah.
yeah,
It's so funny
yeah,
because I was presenting Jules in a conference in Pune in India, and there were about
yeah.
2,000 people in that room, all of who were hearing about Jules for the first time. And right after the conference, it was incredible because people would come and show me their phone and the things they built on their phone with Jules while I was
Oh,
speaking in the talk. And I was like, this is a full circle moment because I wasn't even talking about using Jules with the phone, but I was like, here you are. Like, you really want to engage with
right.
something, but you don't want to open your laptop up.
Nice. And what was for some cool projects that people built?
One of the coolest things that I've seen people build with Jules, this is insane. So, someone has actually built an entire small team with Jules. So, this person has used the Jules API to have, I think, 16 engineers. One engineer wakes up on Monday, so you can schedule tasks with Jules. So, they've scheduled this one engineer, well, Jules engineer, to run every Monday morning and give them design improvements. The second
Yeah,
engineer wakes up and makes sure there's security of their all the new CLs, all the new like code that their team sent, all of the though that is secure, which means
yeah,
like their security patches for all the code that came in
right.
through the week. And so 16 such engineers. And what they realized is after 6 months of deploying Jules, maybe after three even, 6 months is how long it's been now, but after 3 months of deploying Jules, Jules was the top contributor in their entire code base, much more so than the guy who set it up.
Oh my god. Yeah, that is so cool.
It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely on the edge of like AI's
Just at the
capabilities,
end,
and you also,
yes.
yeah, you also did this like advising on like early stage in AI
Yeah.
startups, moonshots.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think, like right now? What is like a good moonshot? Like something that is, it shouldn't be like going to Mars tomorrow, but it shouldn't be like going to the moon either, because we've been on the moon. So,
Yeah.
what is like a good?
I love that question. This is a question I like really had to think hard about. And I think there are like three big buckets that I am roughly thinking about.
Mm,
One moonshot is I think AI with physical devices is something we haven't cracked yet. I know Meta is still continues to build the glasses that we worked
yeah,
on, and I think those are pretty close and they have huge potential. I know there's a bunch of other devices that are coming out, the Aura Ring, there's physical
yeah,
robots, but um, bringing like consumer robots into the market, which actually work for people, that's a big
yeah.
moonshot, in my opinion.
Like VO,
Yeah,
what was
like
it
the
called?
Veo
Yeah,
humanoid robot. Exactly,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. But like ones that truly actually work. Like I actually think that in some ways, it's super old and it's dated, but the vacuuming robots were a step in this direction and then we like just
right.
stopped there, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
imagine
It's like a
for like
Trojan horse.
little mini devices doing a lot of the work that we don't want to do day to day, like that could
Yeah,
be game changing. So I think that's a big
100%.
moonshot that people should be exploring. The second set of things that I was actually also advising a few startups is both power consumption, like the power grid, and climate and energy, like with the increase in compute, are going to be insane if you think about it. Like they're
Yeah, yeah,
actually sticking already. And it's probably the growth of these sectors is like vertical 90 degrees. And so, how do we bring solutions to bring more efficiencies into these systems in the world? I think that's going to be incredibly hard, yet important.
yeah,
That's the second moonshot. And the third one, it's funny because I always like don't know what to call it. A lot of the innovation right now is happening for the problems we see here in the US. Obviously,
mm,
because a lot of startups are coming out, and Europe now has a very good burgeoning startup culture thanks to the
yeah,
likes of Lovable and a bunch of others. I do think that is happening. And I think similar like waves need to happen for like specific problems that people feel in other parts of the world as well. Because the
yeah,
problems we feel in the places we are so interesting and sometimes so specific, but can still scale really well. I'll give
Mm,
you one example. The India, for example, has 3 billion people, and when I was talking to people there, they were like, "Hey, actually, any teacher ends up having to grade 1 million papers, for example, anytime." And so
right.
they realize that actually investing in education verticals for with AI would be way better than say in another productivity vertical for them. And so
Yeah.
again, like figuring out what are these verticals which are, market specific, not just like
Mm,
vertical specific, is going to be a pretty big one. I do think that Harvey has done this for legal here in US,
yeah.
and I think similar opportunities exist to verticalize markets everywhere.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, we have like Ligora is supposedly like they're one of our clients, but they're supposedly bigger in Europe than the US.
I've heard this.
There was like in the early days of the internet in Sweden, there was like like a Craigslist site called Blocket, and there was just like a ton of people that did this in like all different markets around the world,
Yeah,
like Russia
yeah,
and like some countries
right.
in Africa, and like a lot of these guys are billionaires now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
yeah,
mean that's
yeah,
incredible if you're like an entrepreneur in any like country, like look at the space and be like, what's missing here? What can I
right.
bring as learning?
Last question: how companies are not in generative AI, so like they don't want to do like moonshots necessarily, but they want to use an AI. How should they think about like integrating Gen AI in their like existing traditional
I'm so
business?
passionate about this question because I think
Yeah.
everyone should be using AI to like up level themselves. First off, if anyone sees this and is frightened to use AI, you can reach out to me. I'm very passionate about helping you.
Yeah.
But I actually gave a talk about this recently, which is it's super simple to use AI. Think about what you dread in your day. Go into your day,
Mm,
think about the things you have to do. It can be in any job, and think about the things you hate doing. For
yeah.
me, I told you it was meetings. I hated scheduling meetings. Um,
Yeah.
Figure out, like, Google search what tools are around to solve those problems. And I guarantee you, for most of the problems, there will exist a tool that you can try out.
Yeah.
And try a few tools out. That's what I usually do, including when I was going into the developer AI space. I actually built a product with every tool that existed. Like I
Mm,
spent like 5 hours on every tool. My workflow is I will use a tool for a week and see which one's bringing me more value, and then really commit for a month, and then see if I
yeah.
want to commit for a year. Um,
Yes.
and so try tools, and then you'll discover like something can stick, and then
Mm,
use it. Like initially, it's hard. You have to be mindful that you use it. But if it's something you really dread, then you will be very, very incentivized to use it. You won't have to do that switch. Once you get in this zone, then you end up like finding these micro things through your day that you bring AI into, and you just become better at learning the space from where you
yeah.
are, instead of starting an AI 101 course that can be like, wait, what? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
models, what's happening? So yeah, that's my
Right.
advice.
That's a good. Then you also become like the first patient zero or like user zero. So
Yeah,
yeah, like if you take something that's like your own pain, right?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been awesome to like hear your experience, and like I think very few people in the world have as your like breadth of experience in this space and like the length from like Alexa to today. So yeah,
Thank you.
it's been wonderful.
You're generous, and it was so excited to talk to you, and excited to see where you take this.
Yeah, thank you.